welcome to another episode of the Herd Main Show. I'm your herd leader, John Wayne.
I'm a hot, steamy planet.
Okay, and this week we are talking about, not a hot, steamy planet. It's a hot, sandy planet.
Oh, daggum, I missed it.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yes, we are done with our character dives, which were big brain episodes, lots of thinking and watching and researching and lots of big stuff. And so we wanted to do something lighter and more fun. And if you've listened for a while, then you may remember we did a 10 Ways to Die on the Death Star episode, where basically what we do is we set up, hey, here's this place, here's some of what it's got going on, and here's ways you can die. Because what better way to learn about a place than to learn the ways in which it could kill you?
Listen, that's how I travel, is just like Disneyland. What could kill me?
Right, nothing.
That's called having
but
anxiety.
The churros. So let's, we're going to strap in. We're going to learn a little bit about Tatooine and learn a little bit about death, apparently. So our Death Star one was really fun. And I mean, what better place to start than the Death Star?
Yeah.
And so we figured next best place, next arguably most popular place. I mean, when you think of planetoids or something like that.
Very true.
You know, Tatooine's probably something anybody could name if you asked them to name a planet from Star Wars. So wanted to dive in. And there's a lot of ways to die, at least 10. So what we'll do is we'll kind of just alternate and talk through these and have fun with it. And you guys can decide whether or not you're going to keep your travel plans to Tatooine later this year, or maybe somewhere else.
Yeah, have aboard a galactic star cruiser and or a piece of junk.
Right, whatever gets you there. But will Tatooine be your summer vacay? Well, let's finish the episode and then decide.
Yeah.
But we'll be back to more, sort of big brain stuff. Next week, we're actually going to do for May 4th a Q&A episode. So going ahead up top, and I'll remind you at the end, send us questions, whatever, Star Wars related or just general questions that you have. Basically, we're just going to chill out, do an early episode on Monday, and answer questions. So whatever you got, fun ones, weird ones, serious ones, Star Wars ones, whatever, just send those in. A lot of people are doing cool other things, and there's a lot of podcasts we can recommend that are doing cool Star Wars-y stuff for Star Wars Day. Yeah. We wanted to do something chill.
Honestly, we're tired.
And so, but then it gets serious after that. So hopefully you guys like this episode, but if you're into more of the deep dives and lores, we still have plenty of that lined up. So, so Tatooine.
Yes.
Tatooine. It's a place. It's a planet. It is a place in the Outer Rim.
Yes.
So it's bad news.
What do you immediately think of when you think of Tatooine?
Sand. Lots and lots of sand.
Like literally looking at a picture of the planet, I see no water.
I imagine
sand.
Just everyone is like John Mulaney at 35, where they're just constantly sweating.
Just damp.
Just damp now, damp later.
What did I sit in? And it was me.
There's no drought on me. So, yes, you will be quite damp on this Outer Rim world.
Please use a different word.
You'll be very moist. Apparently, it's in the Arcanus sector. Didn't know that. It's a part of the tattoo system, so you could say this is a sleeve.
Boo.
Boo, yes, very boo. It doesn't get better from here, folks. 2 sons. I think that's one of its most popular traits.
Congratulations.
Yes, no daughters, unfortunately. It has 2 sons, and oddly enough, they have names. Tattoo 1 and Tattoo 2. Just had to marinate in that one for a second.
Let it sink in.
So, I mean, it's interesting. What came first, Tattoo or Tatooine?
Yeah.
Yes. Moving on. It also has 3 moons.
I cannot wait to hear you
pronounce these. No, you pronounce these. You do this. Do some talking. Talk some Star Wars.
Well, number 1 is Gumrasen.
Good job.
Next one is Germesa.
Yes.
The last one appears to be
Chinini. 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 Chinanai.
Chinini.
Check the Wookiee, people. It's serious. I'm like, it's ridiculous. There's so many consonants and vowels.
Is that just our new thing? Is to check the Wookiee?
Gomrassen, Goomer Mesa. All right, somebody was clearly high when they did this. This is ridiculous.
Gourmet.
These are not as cool as Tattoo and Tattoo 2. So already on the travel guide, bad naming of the moons in this one. Its grid coordinates are R16, in case you were wondering.
Oh.
I'm not getting into the rest of this. Rotation period, 34 hours.
Right.
So a day is 34 hours there. So that's interesting.
To have 34 hours in a day.
I mean,
what would you do with 10 extra hours?
A lot. Probably actually get sleep. 34 hours under 2 suns. It's no wonder Obi-Wan did not recognize R2 and forgot his name, apparently.
And just looked like that after maybe 19 years.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was stressful. Also, Skywalker child. Come on. It's got 5 primary languages: Bachi, Galactic Basic, Huttese, Jawaese, and Tusken, which is interesting. I wonder if the Jawaese is the same on Tatooine as it is on the planet where Mando finds the egg.
That would be very interesting.
I wonder if it's anything like... I mean, so, for instance, like, there's French and there's French Creole and then there's Creole and it depends on settling and who goes where.
It's like the Spanish that you speak in Mexico is completely different.
Do you think they have an accent?
It's likely.
Like, does one say Utini and one says Utani or something? Like, that would be trippy.
One says UTD, one says BTD.
What does a Southern Jawa sound like? These are the serious questions, folks. And then Tuskens. As far as I know, Tuskens are only... so the lore of Tuskens is actually that they were the original settlers of the planet, and that's why they hate humans. Hate anyone, basically. And when you look at some of the tribal inspirations of them being very similar to Native Americans, it's actually kind of sad.
It's incredibly sad. Like, don't read history, but
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, educate yourself with sadness.
Exactly. The Trail of Tears.
200,000 is the population. Yeah. That's not a lot. That should tell you something.
Most of them are dead.
Most of them are dead, and the rest of them are scum, with a little bit of villainy,
like America.
And got several major cities: Anchorhead, Bestine, Freetown, Mos Doba, Mos Eisley, Mos El Rey, Mos Intha, Mos Espa. What's interesting? Oh, and Mos Take. When
there's an A.
Taika Waititi. What's interesting is the two that we know of, like, what should sound instantly familiar is Mos Eisley and Mos Espa.
And also Tashi Station.
Well, Tashi Station. Well, yes, but I mean, as far as the Mosses, both of them are related to Hutts. So I wonder if the Mosses are Hutt-controlled places. The Hutts control the Mosses, Megan.
A rolled Hutt gathers no moss.
There you go.
Sorry, I'm tired. Tashi Station.
Yes, Tashi Station. I don't know that that's a city, though. It's kind of just a station. It's literally just a shop. It's like calling Walmart a city.
It's like the... I mean, it could be.
I mean, pretty much. Could it be? Can we just shut the doors and just leave those people in there?
Yikes.
That way I can shop at Target in peace.
It's like the train station in Wales. It's the longest name in the world. I can't pronounce it. Only Michael Sheen can pronounce it.
Apparently. What's that got to do with Tashi Station?
The entire town is
named
a train station.
Oh, well, that kind of makes sense. Because, I mean, that'd be like if Tashi Station was Tatooine, though.
Yeah.
So, but, I mean, I get where you're going with it. But Tashi Station, I don't think is a city. So Wikipedia just fails on that one, I think. But they're also nerdier than me. So,
trust the Wiki.
And then, major exports. We got some big stuff here. Delirium oil, of course, that's super, super important. Silax oxetate. You definitely don't want to leave home without that. Oh, also slaves. Come get your slaves on Tatooine.
Tatooine.
Known for the slaves, apparently.
And power converters.
Exactly. All right, so that sets up where we are, what we're talking about, and so let's just go ahead and get into some of the ways that you can actually die on this place.
Yes. A couple of them are obvious.
A couple of them, we tried to have a little fun. We tried not to just go straight in it with it's a Sarlacc. We tried to be creative and also be realistic.
Which is how you come about a Sarlacc in the wild.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Oh, boy. Oh, golly. There's a Sarlacc. You okay?
Yes.
Oh, gosh, golly. Oh. All right. So, number 10. So, 10 ways to die on Tatooine starting now. Number 1. Number 10.
Do I need to take this one?
Sure.
All right. Number 10 is dehydration.
Yes. Hydrate or dihydrate, folks.
You gotta hydrate or dihydrate, fam. There is only 1% surface water on all of Tatooine.
And it's my tears.
That's the tears of the Skywalker.
Exactly. There you go.
Yes. Moisture farming is less of a profession and more of just what you did if you lived there.
Mm-hmm.
That way you could, have water to drink.
That's really interesting to think about, how agriculture has evolved, because farming used to be something everybody did. Everybody did farming because you need your stuff.
Exactly.
And then it's taken over to a point of business sale where, no, I don't grow my crops for me. I grow to sell. It's really interesting.
If there were pizza bushes, I'd be set.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, it's really interesting that, it's just a thing. It's just if you want water, you moisture farm. That's just, you at least got a couple.
Yeah. Also, pizza bushes, band name called it. It was the only guaranteed way to get yourself water. If you were good enough, you could sell the water to your friends and neighbors for about $50.
Yeah,
I don't know.
50 tattoos.
Around 11 BBY, there was an epic drought, which...
Surprise.
Surprise. On top of that, Jabba ran a water tax on all farmers. The Lars were never affected by these sorts of things, thanks to a helpful hermit.
Yes, so that's a shout out to the Star Wars comic nerds there.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's another thing is water tax. So, it's something you see. It's like in occupied places where it's just we're military. We are taking over this town that has all these rice fields, and we're going to protect you and all that stuff, and we're going to take whatever you have. And, also, we're going to take some of your rice. It's really interesting to think about the dynamics of water farming.
Yeah, I was about to say, could you imagine paying for water? But we do.
We do.
We own our home.
We do. Everybody pays for water some way or somehow.
Unless you go into McDonald's daily.
Right.
Or hourly.
But, no, it's really crazy to think that somehow, some way in a galaxy far, far away, you could die just because you didn't have water.
Mm-hmm.
And more than likely, there's probably several deaths a year on Tatooine, just from the fact of not having water. So, first off the bat, it's a sad one. It's just a boring one. Yeah. Dehydration.
Did you know that the Sahara Desert, the Sahara is Arabic, I think.
I went to school with the Sahara.
Sahara is Arabic for desert.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically
desert. I feel like that's Tatooine in a nutshell.
Desert.
So number 9, a little more interesting, a little more nerdy. We've got Tusken Raiders.
Yes.
So Tuskens and Jawas are the only known natives of Tatooine. New settlers came in with promises of valuable mining and being far away from the law. So it kind of invited exploitation, basically, because it's not highly populated, it's not very supervised, and it has stuff. So if you're I see this as an easy money plot in terms of if you can deal with the heat and can you farm water and dig a lot, you'll be fine, you can live there. But it's really interesting, those that would choose to be there.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. The the Lars, I think is really interesting because it's how long have you lived there? Why? What's going on there with the family dynamic? Because, Klieg died, you could have moved. You could have left. You could have done something. Yeah. So I'm why not move when Grandpa died or something? It's just really interesting. Why stay there without a reason?
Well, I think partially it was because, family's been there your whole life. Partially because, there's a child here that we're kind of trying to keep under wraps.
I wonder if that was a conversation with Obi-Wan. Yeah. Dude, we want to move to the suburbs.
Yeah.
I feel like he would have been safer elsewhere, though.
I don't know.
I feel like he would have been okay elsewhere.
I feel like, honestly, if we're talking about Vader, that would be the best place for him. It's like people who don't want to go back to their hometown, like you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the safest place if I ever wanted to like hide something from you would be Savannah.
Pretty
Because
much.
I know you're never going back to Savannah.
Pretty much. So Jawas got in the droid stealing business to get by. So they steal and repair droids and also just pick them up on the side of the road, apparently. Tuskens were not as nice to settlers. They believed water is sacred and that the farmers and new folks were wrong for how they produce it. So their religion of sorts is based around water because it's like this life-giving source. And so other people having it and selling it and all of this other stuff didn't jive with them. So if you weren't a Tusken, odds are they didn't like you. And they would be very, very violent, but usually only when their territory was threatened. So
or if he came around the corner.
Right. I mean, they seem smart enough to know they don't just go pillaging for no reason. Like it seems like they have their land and you cross their land and then all of a sudden it's free game. But from what we know, they can be very, very scary to run into. I mean, we don't know what happened to Shmi, but clearly a lot. And that's not the only one. I mean, they take pot shots at pod racers. Like, good Lord. Like, they really don't care about anyone other than Tuskens. So unless you're a Tusken, visiting Tatooine would be a pretty bad idea. Or if you're going to do it, just stick to the spaceports. Just don't go wandering around the desert on your own. Unless you're the Mando, apparently.
Who speaks
sign language. It's actual ASL. Like, they didn't even create Star Wars ASL. It's just ASL.
I know. It's amazing.
Yeah, the Tusken was played by an actual ASL actor. Like, they actually...
He's deaf, yes.
Yeah. So, like, that's all kinds of cool stuff right there.
It really is.
But, like, I think, if I remember correctly, they only let the Mando through because they know they're searching for something. Like, it's only a kind of a...
Yeah.
It's almost like Kuil in a way of, like, well, I'll let you go because I know you're going to deal with something that'll also benefit me.
Exactly.
So,
No, I
was just going to say, so Tuskens, bad news. Bad news bears.
Fun fact. In the EU, there was a Tusken, there was a Jedi who became a Tusken Raider?
Yes. He is adopted. Sharad Het was adopted, I believe, by Tusken Raiders or came from that background. After, I don't want to misspeak. I really enjoy the character, but I can't for the life of me remember off the top of my head now. But so Sharad Het. Yeah, Sharad Het basically is the Jedi. Asharad Het. He was the son of that Jedi and was brought to the Order by Ki-Adi-Mundi. After Order 66, he actually returned to Tatooine and led a tribe of Tuskens. So somewhere in there, he's familial to them, but he's not a Tusken. But no, Sharad Het and his son Asharad Het, really, really good stories from Star Wars Legacy. It kind of branches across. Basically, he was one of the Dark Horse characters.
Cool.
So Dark Horse created a lot of interesting characters like Capron and so many more. And they went on to do insane things. Like Asharad Het became the Sith Lord Darth Krayt, named after the Krayt dragon. Really, really cool stuff. So again, another reason not to mess with Tusken Raiders because they might be Sith Lords. And apparently,
also another reason to read the Dark Horse comics.
Yeah, I can't recommend Star Wars Legacies enough. It's really good. It deals with a descendant of Luke Skywalker, Cade Skywalker. And it's a lot of interesting legacy stuff. I mean, that's what it basically deals with is he doesn't want to be a Skywalker. He doesn't want to do the Jedi thing. And he's a very dynamic character. And he's contrasted by a very well-written villain, Darth Krayt, who has very interesting motives. And it's a really big twist from the Rule of Two to the One Sith thing where he is the power source and he has all of these other minions that serve him, like Darth Nihil and Darth Talon and all these other acolytes.
Okay.
Yeah, they're the ones that this was back when Darth Maul was tattooed Sith. Yeah. So I guess technically they haven't disproven that he's tattooed, but it wasn't a Sith thing. Yeah. So that army of Darth Maul lookalikes is his one Sith army. It's legit, dude. It's really awesome. And again, Kruk survives all the way from the Galactic Republic to this period.
Kruk being your favorite Jedi.
Yes, one of my absolute favorite Jedi. So lots of interesting things. So Tusken Raiders, scary but interesting.
Yes, very interesting. Well, number 8 is one that you should look out for at Disneyland as well as every other planet you visit.
Yes.
Which is Hungry Creatures.
Yes.
Sometimes it's a 5-year-old.
I mean, it takes a while, but they'll eat you.
Exactly. They're like cats. They're just waiting for you to die so that they can eat your bones.
Pretty much.
Sorry. That was a tangent. I'm terrified of children. Anyway, so most fauna on Tatooine are just like farm animals, like Bantha, one of my favorite big, happy, soft babies.
Mm-hmm.
Love them dearly. And some of them are a little bit more dangerous.
Yes.
We're out in space.
Like with most.
Yeah. We're in space Australia, basically.
Pretty much.
There you go. Krayt dragons are one.
Mm-hmm.
Giant reptiles, they can basically call it space desert dinosaurs.
Yes.
Yes.
So C-3PO walks by one, the skeleton of one in A New Hope. You see this head and long spine, and you could mistake it for, that must have been like a big desert snake. It's not a snake. Think giant Komodo dragon kind of look.
Am I wrong in thinking that this is what Boba Fett rides in
no, the Mythosaur.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Mythosaurs and Krayt dragons are two big beasts. They're Star Wars kaiju, basically, in terms of, like, if you could...
Like a Tuataka.
Yes, exactly. So if you could fight, if you could kill, like, these were the tests of power. Like, so for instance, many Tusken Raider, mostly female, because most of their warriors are actually females, most of them had to pass a rite of passage of capturing and killing their first Krayt dragon. And so we see one of these stories from, I want to say there's one in that George Mann, Myths and Fables. I want to say there's mention of it in From a Certain Point of View. And I think there might even be mention of it in the Women of the Galaxy thing. But like they've mentioned quite often that like a rite of passage of a Tusken Raider naturally is Krayt dragons. So, I mean, it's like that thing of like, go kill your first deer, but the deer is 20 feet taller than you and has sharp teeth.
Honestly, that's just deer.
Right, apparently. So, I mean, again, another point for the Tusken Raiders of not messing with them, but it also speaks to how scary and mythicized Krayt dragons are.
Yes, and rightfully so. They're giant and beautiful reptiles. They rarely are afraid of confrontation, territorial, that kind of big Komodo dragon babies. But they are often hunted by Tusken Raiders and others because of the very valuable pearls that are in their bowels. Gross.
Well, I mean, it's the same myth of dragons and their gold. You kill the dragon, get the gold. But like, where would a Krayt dragon get gold on a sand planet?
Honestly, why would you need that much gold?
I mean, my headcanon is that they create it from naturally eating things that either have... So you know how like whales take a big gulp and to get plankton, but they get a whole bunch of water? That's why they have the spout. So I imagine it's similar with Krayt dragons, but they, instead of digesting the sand, condense it, and that's what creates the pearl.
Like an owl pellet or a bezoar.
Pretty much.
Or an actual pearl. Pearls are created from irritation on the inside of a clam.
So, I mean, same thing. Yeah. Same concept. In my headcanon. I don't know if that's real, but like that was my reasoning for how it could have a pearl, unless it just swallowed it. But that's, I don't know.
That's dope. But poor babies. Leave reptiles alone.
Leave reptiles alone.
Yeah, except for, the ones in the government. Anyway, so one that we mentioned earlier is quite obvious to most. It is the Great Sarlacc.
Not exclusive to Tatooine. We know that now. Back in 1989, that wasn't familiar information, but apparently so. 1983. Yeah, like when we first see it, it just seems like, oh, sure, it makes sense. Giant hole in the desert. Of course, there's going to be a beak and tentacles in there. But it turns out that essentially they're planted.
Essentially.
So
Yeah.
Like Jabba apparently just acquired this at some point, or maybe not. Maybe someone else did, and Jabba just takes advantage of it. Like
That's a very big possibility.
yeah, I mean, there's no telling how it got there, but basically, like they're free flowing, like they just waddle
go.
around on their own, and then eventually, like this thing's ancient.
Mm-hmm.
Like it takes
30,000 years
hundreds
old.
of years to what's it? It takes 1,000. No,
30,000.
yeah. So they don't plant themselves. They don't plant until they're
No.
30,000 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
And when you go to Galaxy's Edge
Yeah.
at Disney World, you see a
baby one.
exactly, and it looks
Han,
like a rotisserie chicken.
It does. It basically does. Han picked that up for Hondo, not Hondo, for Dok-Ondar.
Dok-Ondar, yes.
So I mean, like it's really interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's this weird like cross between like a plant and creature thing because it's very fleshy and seems like alienish,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, it acts like a plant.
It's amazing. It's like a Venus flytrap. It just sort of waits around for food to fall in.
Well, and that's why, I mean, that makes the sense of why it preserves and digests for so long, because you never
years,
know.
Or 1,000 years.
I mean, unless you got a crime lord constantly feeding you when somebody pisses him off, I mean, you never know where your next meal's coming from.
Right?
I mean, I hope he ate well. Oh, gosh. I hope he ate like everybody and is okay after episode 6, because who else is going to feed him now? Jabba's dead.
I'm sure that there's like tourists that are just like, oh, what's that? What's that big thing over there?
Oh my gosh.
All of a sudden you get
I hope that baby
snatched
is
by
okay.
tentacle.
So yes, so stay away from the creatures. No jungle safaris for you. Well, number one, because there's no jungle. But don't go wandering around. You might run into some Tuskens, might run into some hungry creatures. Who knows what else is out there? But those are the big two. One will chase you down. One will just wait for you to climb into it.
And a soft reminder, as of canon, currently, as far as we know, Boba Fett's still down there.
Maybe. I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Mm-mm.
What makes you?
Well, because his armor was spied in a shot on Tatooine after the fact with acid burns.
Is there not a way that you can get in?
What do you mean? You can't go fishing in there. Like if you see a cross section of a sarlacc, there's way too many stomachs. It's like a cow's diaphragm in there.
Digestive system.
Sure, whatever organs are. You can't just like throw a line in there and go fishing. And like I feel like he got out. The question then is what happened afterwards. If he did get out,
mm-hmm.
What happens? I mean, did he survive his wounds or whatnot?
How would you feel in the Mando if we saw a very acid burned Boba Fett?
I'd feel great.
You'd feel great?
I want to know one way or another. Yeah. I mean, again, they've hinted pretty well that he escaped, but not what happened after that. So, like, that's the big question mark is what happened after.
Yeah, if only we had a friend who could make a comic about that kind of thing.
Michael Morrissey!
Michael! Okay, so, like, there's only 2 reasons to come to Tatooine, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
It's water and money. If you got, like...
Pretty much.
Some kind of shenanigans going on, you're in a bad spot. Or if you got a bounty that ran that way.
Apparently. It's a good place to hide.
It is.
Which, if everybody knows it's a good place to hide, wouldn't that make it a bad place to hide?
But the thing is, no one cares. Everyone there is probably hiding from
unless
something.
They directly benefit from it. Yeah, nobody cares.
Exactly. Well, a good way to die on Tatooine is gangsters.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
Scum and villainy.
Yeah, the scum and the villainy. There's a reason that one of the main languages on Tatooine is Huttese.
Yes.
Which is spoken primarily by...
Well, pretty much any species enslaved to the Hutts.
Exactly.
Yeah, so...
I was waiting for you to say that.
AKA gangsters.
Gangsters. It's difficult to live a normal life without being negatively affected by gang business. It's like living in a small town.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like one of those things where it's like, if that's what happens there, everybody knows it, everybody's affected by it.
No one does anything about it.
I mean, you're living on a Hutt-controlled place, so the Hutts, you're gonna rub against them one way or another.
Uh-huh.
I mean, like freaking Diego Luna, you are gonna touch a Hutt. For context, he's obsessed with Jabba.
Me too. I'm obsessed with him touching a Hutt. I'll be honest with you.
I mean, don't Google that though.
Don't touch a hut.
Don't Google that.
Do not. I lost my train of thought. Thank you.
Yeah.
The only normal family on Tatooine, quote unquote.
Yeah, normal.
Normal is the Lars family, basically, and that's just because of Obi-Wan.
Exactly. So, I mean, we kind of mentioned it before. Obi-Wan looked out for them.
Yeah.
A lot. Even to the test of Owen.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot that, like, people wonder, like, if it's such a bad place, how did they? Because Obi-Wan. Legit, only because of Obi-Wan.
Exactly.
There's a lot that would have happened that could have seen Luke, but also Owen and Beru hurt or worse. Because of Tatooine life.
And that's why when he left, something immediately happens.
Exactly. So, I mean, I guess if, that's our first travel advice. If you're going to go to Tatooine, take a hermit. Take a crazy old wizard hermit.
Take a hermit.
Yeah.
Take a Jedi. Take it.
Because apparently otherwise there's no way to survive and thrive on Tatooine.
I mean, there's a big reason why there's that line in The Phantom Menace where Padme's talking about, slavery's illegal.
Yeah, that doesn't apply here.
No. This hunt country. This is hut country.
Right. And so, you've got all kinds, like we've mentioned, so you've got like Nikto and you've got Weequay and you've got Rhodians. You've got all of these very typical gang-related species, but then you've also got just anybody that falls on hard times. Like,
exactly.
I preach constantly the freaking From a Certain Point of View book. It's amazing. One of them is the Kubaz alien that we know of, the Snoot guy, the Zoot Snoot, the Droopwood Snoot.
Droop Snoot,
he's the guy that spies and rats out about the Falcon.
Yeah.
He's stuck there trying to get home to his family, and the reason he's taking that kind of job is to do that.
Yeah. For context, he's the third boss fight in the Lego Star Wars game.
Yes. And then he doesn't even get the money because they didn't capture the Falcon. So, he's just trying to get home to see his family, and he takes the first opportunity. So there's stuff like that where it's just not every gangster's in the business because they want to be powerful and popular.
Exactly.
And desperation is a dangerous thing.
Exactly. If you read Greedo's story in Tales from the Bounty Hunter.
Yep.
He was desperate.
Yep.
He wanted to help his people. And so he just takes the first job.
There's very few people that choose to be on Tatooine. Exactly. One of the few being Obi-Wan.
Exactly.
And so something that, again, from a certain point of view did well was to establish that. We go through a lot of Cantina characters and learn their backstory, why they're there, how they're there, and all. None of them want to be there, folks. So again, you get into some desperation and that gets you into some trouble, primarily with gangsters.
Exactly.
So the law's no good out here.
Yep.
So take you a hermit if you're going to go to Tatooine because you're going to run into some gangsters for sure.
Yeah, and gangsters usually have pets such as Sarlaccs and or Rancors.
Exactly. Oh, we didn't even mention Rancor.
Well, yeah, because Rancors aren't from Tatooine.
Well, neither are Sarlaccs, but there is one. If you go to Tatooine, there's at least one you could run into.
Are Rancors still from Dathomir?
There's a type from Dathomir. There's a type from Felucia. No, bull Rancors are from Felucia. There's not set. It's kind of just such a, hey, we need a big bad character, so throw that in there. There's not really establishing stuff for that.
Have we asked Rancor where he's from?
Rancor,
where are you from?
Interesting. All right, Kansas. So if this is Kansas, why is this not Arkansas? So number 6, Another Way to Die. Good song. Stormtrooper Raid.
Yes.
Stormtrooper Raid. You just mind your own business, and then that stupid nephew of yours just gets into some trouble with an old hermit. So that old hermit that we just talked about, man, he can get you into some trouble too. He could steal your nephew away, and then who's there to stop the Imperial troopers? And
the saddest part is the reason they're probably dead was because they didn't tell them where Luke was. That's sad to think about.
Oh, yeah.
They died protecting their nephew.
Yeah. Well, and also, they genuinely didn't know. He went out looking for droids. They couldn't specifically tell him anything.
Yeah.
But, I like yours better in terms of...
Even if they knew.
I do think they took... Especially, I think from a certain point of view proves they take seriously their charge as his keepers. And they do care about him. And so I think they know he's important in whatever way. and that I think that they probably died standing up for that.
Yeah, and you can read into the scene in A New Hope as much as you like for them not liking him or stuff like that, but they genuinely love him.
No parent really likes their children.
Absolutely not. My mom didn't like me until maybe 3 years ago.
Oh,
I'm joking.
No. No, I mean, I've always felt like they had just the right amount of old farm family to it. I mean, there's no doubt deep down they care. That's for sure. And likewise, I mean, Luke cared about them, so
exactly.
they were family. And that family was taken away by stormtroopers. So, I mean, Tatooine, man, it's a lawless place. Empires out there, you never know what you're going to run into. So you got to watch out for them. They are stormtroopers. Their aim is precise in exactly one scene. They're
easy to find.
Right. Yes. I mean, it's not like they have tan armor.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, they do. Shore troopers. So stormtroopers are also a danger of the land out there. Oh, that's you. Next.
Okay. Another danger of the land. You know what the best... Sorry. You know what the best sound design in a movie is?
What?
It's that freaking pod racing scene, am I right?
Yes.
Pod
absolutely.
racing. It's a dumb way to die.
It's actually a kind of cool way to die.
It's a dope way to
of
die.
this list, this is coolest way to die, probably.
It really is. Honestly, there were some really cool deaths in that pod racing scene.
Mm-hmm.
But you shouldn't do it. The Hutts ran businesses, and they were really good at running gambling rings. I'm tired.
Apparently.
They were betting on pod races, mostly. Too bad. They are extremely, extremely dangerous, just as Mommy said.
Yes.
Anakin's pod, for instance, could go as fast as 588 miles per hour, or whatever distance they were counting back then.
Right.
Between just going real fast, you also had to worry about other racers, malfunctioning engines, interfering Tuskens, and sometimes even the gang business.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Aura Singh was there.
Exactly.
Which I did not notice until the 30th time we watched the next minute. Right. We literally paused it, and I was like, "Is that Aura Singh?"
Yes. Ugh. Yes, it was.
Yeah. She wasn't there just watching her favorite racer. No, she had to take somebody out. Who was the guy that she took out?
Neva Key.
Oh, Neva Key. For whatever reason, Jabba wanted the racer dead, and Aura made it happen.
There you go.
Yeah. He was never seen again. Never.
Well, because he's dead.
Well, yes,
you don't typically see dead people, unless you're that one kid.
Yeah, he was one of 10 people that died in that race.
Yes. People don't realize. Yay, the child won. All the dead people, though.
Yeah.
All the dead people.
So many dead people. Which makes you think, is that normal?
Probably. I mean, Sebulba himself, I think, took out 2 of them.
Very true.
One was taken out by Tuskens, I know for sure. One was the guy that got the bounty. I don't know of all of them. I don't know that we see all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of it, when it's between Sebulba and Anakin, it's probably because they're the only 2 left.
Probably.
So pod racing, very fast, very dangerous.
Yes.
Not recommended. Don't be that tourist that shows up and you're just like, oh, sure, I'll do that. Right. Yeah. No, this isn't bungee jumping. This isn't just your free tourist thing. This is dangerous stuff. And what a way to go.
And that's a valid point as well. Being a spectator in a pod race, engine parts just flying everywhere.
Also,
it's like that scene in Final Destination.
Right. That's another thing. Yeah. So you not even if you just watch it on TV, just pay-per-view that stuff, man. Come on. It's just don't get anywhere near pod racing.
Mm-hmm.
is the advice. Worse than that. So we're moving on to number 4 now. We're getting there. We're getting close. Number 4 is freedom.
Yes.
Freedom comes at a high cost on Tatooine, that being your life.
Yes.
We learn about Anakin and Shmi and their history, and that essentially slaves are implanted. Like, why don't they just run away? There's a lot of desert.
Yeah.
Well, they're implanted, and if they run away, I mean, they just push a button and go boom.
Exactly. Like, it's like a restraining bolt for humans.
Exactly.
You feel pretty restrained when your head might explode.
Yep. So, I mean, it's like Running Man. Is Running Man the one where they have the bomb collars?
Yes. That is Running Man.
So, I mean, yeah, it's
a good movie.
Oh, yeah, very good. So, even just being someone who's longing for freedom, you can run away and escape all you want, but even that is a deadly business on Tatooine, and so it's really interesting to get into the slave lore of Tatooine and all that stuff.
That's why they didn't just grab Anakin and run.
Pretty right, because you had to legally do it. Yeah, you had to legally do it. You had to either buy them or trade them or something. And so, more than likely they had to. That's probably what took so long with getting Anakin and whatnot. And so, I mean, but it's also a very ceremonious thing in terms of like it's a very physical representation of being set free too.
Yeah.
So, but we don't want to talk about this cute representation and all that. We want to talk about the death and all that. So head explosions, body explosions, all over explosions. If you try and be a free boy.
It's like, have you ever seen Employee of the Month?
No.
It's a very weird movie.
Oh, okay.
Dane Cook and Dax Shepard.
I don't like either of those people.
I know. I don't either. I just thought of it.
Oh, okay.
Because there's a whole plot line where employees of a rival supermarket have bomb collars on, and if they try to leave or quit, they explode.
Nice.
It's not real.
Oh, of course.
But
well, obviously. Neither is Star Wars. Sorry if I'm spoiling anything for anyone, but Star Wars is faking in space. So number 3, not moving on from Anakin very much, because we also have angry boys.
Teen angst.
Yes. So basically, we all know that Anakin doesn't like Tatooine, doesn't like sand.
He had some issues.
He had some issues. And as we mentioned before, Tusken Raiders are very dangerous. And at one point, they get a hold of Anakin's mom. And he comes to her aid, but unfortunately it's too late. And of course, because he has no training in how to deal with his emotions, he kills an entire village of men, women, and children out of pure raging anger over the loss of his mom.
Also some puppos.
Yes, also some puppos. So now this one, I mean, mostly we're talking about tourists here, but I mean, who's to say? Who's to say where he would stop?
It's like you cut in front of him in the Starbucks line.
Yeah.
You're getting a lightsaber.
Right. Who knows? I mean, because, and this isn't just for tourists, because not only tourists die on Tatooine, even the natives. Mm-hmm. So even the Tusken Raiders are on the menu on Tatooine, especially if you're in close proximity to Skywalker boys. Mm-hmm. So watch out for pretty boys in the desert. They will kill you.
That's just life advice.
Exactly.
It might be a mirage. It might be a Skywalker.
It might be murder.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
So stay away from angry boys in the desert. Highly recommended.
Highly recommended.
Highly recommended. Do you want to introduce this one?
I will absolutely introduce this one.
Okay.
I feel very emotionally connected to this one.
Every Star Wars fan does.
I have it over my desk.
Exactly.
One of the most dangerous places to be in any kind of populated area is a bar.
Yes, generally.
Especially Mos Eisley Cantina.
Exactly.
You will never see a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Nope.
Not at all.
Nowhere.
So if you get into a bar fight with a hermit and his child.
Oh, dude, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
Dude, I was just thinking of Greedo, dog.
Oh, that too. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, see, man, that's why we should talk two halves of the same coin.
We're two parts of the same.
We are a dyad. Anyway, so good point.
Yeah.
But
it's cool because you're a doctor friend.
Yeah,
it's gonna
grab not a doctor. Definitely not a doctor.
He's like he's a doctor in the same way that Doctor.
He's a chiropractor.
There you go. He has a doctor.
I'm sorry if I offended a chiropractor in that one.
It's okay.
But you're not a doctor.
Go crack somebody's bones. But yeah, get your arm jewed off.
Right. And bleed, apparently.
And bleed.
Weirdly. Also, it turns from a web to a Wolfman hand.
Listen.
Because that's the magic of lightsabers.
That is the magic of
the magic of lightsabers.
That's not how that works.
No. But he definitely bled out.
He did.
No, he didn't.
No.
Actually, neither of them died.
Right?
Yeah.
He was in Rogue One. Both of them.
Well, that's before this, though.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
But no, he's in Dr. Aphra comics.
Such good comics bringing.
Oh yes, if you're not reading Dr. Aphra, I mean, just what are you doing?
Yeah.
There's going to be a audio drama coming out of Dr. Aphra's work, very a la Dooku Jedi Lost.
I can't
highly
wait.
recommend it. It's going to be some familiar, some unfamiliar. So
I hope that Dr. Evazan shows up for like 2 minutes and just like, I'm wanted in 12 systems.
Right. It's more than that now, but either way, I mean, dangerous
Yes.
place.
Don't tell someone that you dislike their face.
Yeah, you're either gonna get your gut cut open, lose an arm, or you're gonna get shot by the handsome smuggler from down the way.
Yeah, I'll bet you have.
Right.
Which is one of the most raw lines in the world.
I love Cantina Han.
It's so good.
I really do.
Such a
because
sharpshooter.
he's very in his environment in that. And
he's a horrible smuggler, but a good talker.
Exactly. So, and all of this because Han stole Greedo's girl.
Yeah, that
all
did
of
happen.
this over a woman.
Which was it a Rhodian woman?
No clue. I don't feel like Han cares.
They're good at kissing.
I feel like Han can get what he wants. He got Leia, so I mean, if you can get Leia, you can get anybody. Not because she's just out there, but I just mean like your game is high, like really high.
In reality, he just wore her down.
Right.
Like he just get tired.
I just think she liked the challenge.
Also, that's true.
I think she liked the challenge.
She happens to like nice men.
Greedo also liked the challenge, but he could not rise to meet it.
Exactly.
He did.
He is dead. No awkward neck jerking.
Right. Yeah. Clunky. Like
Clunky.
Yeah, so you can run into some crazy people in bars. Could be gangsters, could be smugglers, could be anybody.
Could just be an angry teen.
But if you walk into the cantina, if you walk into oh my gosh, what's his name? I can't remember his name.
Oh, is it I don't know.
I can't remember.
Star Wars Explains boyfriend.
Wilher is the bartender, but he's not the owner. Either way, if you walk into the Mos Eisley Cantina, you're probably going to run into some trouble and probably die.
You are.
Unless you're Han Solo or have a crazy old wizard hermit with a magic Bju sword.
Or alternatively, getting on the Mando's bad side. That's another one.
That is true. That also. So we have reached with that the end of our list. But before we get to our number one, just to kind of build up to that lovely, lovely number one spot, we have some honorable mentions, some bonuses. Really just one bonus. It's just one.
It's just one?
It's the best advice anyone can have in the Star Wars galaxy, and it's stay away from Skywalkers.
Just don't, if you see a Skywalker, just walk
go the other way.
That's why that old lady kept walking at the end of Tross, because she was like, oh, Skywalker.
Right, like she knew the business. So hear me out. Listen to this, okay? All right. There's not many people that met a Skywalker and lived.
You're not wrong.
Specifically as it pertains to Tatooine, Greedo. Greedo got in a fight with Anakin when he was a child on Tatooine. 30 years later, dead. Not by a Skywalker, but I feel like it's connected. I mean,
familial.
by an eventual father to a Skywalker. Yes. Everyone from the Phantom Menace.
Dead.
Okay. Watto, dead. Qui-Gon, dead. Padme, dead. Jar Jar, probably dead. Probably dead.
Poor baby.
R2, nah, fam. He's too cool for that. But everybody else is dead. All right?
Except for, C-3PO.
Yeah, true. Well, he kind of died and was resurrected in Tross.
That counts.
I think that's why I like him, is he was resurrected. He pulled a Jesus, and now he's cool. Owen and Beru, dead. Dead. Specifically because of a Skywalker. Sand people, dead. Jawas, dead. Biggs, dead.
Aww.
Jabba, dead. Boba, probably dead. Sarlacc, dead. I mean, gosh, dang it. There's a lot of death in the wake of Skywalkers.
Han Solo, dead.
Han Solo, dead. Leia, dead.
Dead.
Luke, dead.
Ben, dead.
Everybody that meets a Skywalker
Anakin
dies.
Skywalker,
Dead.
The reason that Rey survived is because she's adopted.
Exactly. So stay away from Skywalkers, guys. Please, 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 please. So after that riveting point, I'm
John,
sure you're wondering what could possibly be worse. What could be worse?
What's the worst thing on Tatooine, John?
What's worse than a Skywalker on Tatooine? Sand.
Gonna let that one settle the room for a second.
And that's our show, guys. So
right.
no, but seriously, sand, dangerous, uncomfortable,
terrifying.
Deadly.
Of course, it's rough.
Right? Have you ever gotten it in your eye?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know who? You know what happens to everyone that gets sand in their eye? They die. Eventually. Have you ever eaten sand? It's uncomfortable. You'll probably die. Have you ever been buried under sand? It's uncomfortable. You'd probably die.
No, sand drowning is a thing.
Sand drowning's a thing?
Like
sandstorms? Things. It's a thing. Also, you know what's made of sand? Glass. It's sharp. Dead. There's just a lot of ways to die that involve sand, and none of them are good. Here, you want to up your chances of not dying by sand? Don't go to Tatooine.
Don't go to Tatooine.
To Coruscant. Until we spoil that one for you.
Maybe don't go to Coruscant.
Our goal is to spoil every planet you could possibly want to visit in Star Wars.
Earth. Guess what's on Earth? Sand.
Exactly. Nothing good happens in a story that starts with sand. So
or ends with sand, honestly.
Exactly.
It ended with sand.
Oh, yeah, the Skywalker saga ends with sand.
Oh gosh.
But it doesn't start with sand. Right, yeah. Anakin must love that.
He's probably just rolling around in the Force right now, like, ah!
Right, so uncomfortable. I can't believe you would do that.
Clip on the back of a cat.
Can you imagine what it's going to be like having to clean those things? I know she wrapped it in cloth, but that does not matter.
Who's looking?
Huh?
Who's looking for
What do you... Well, I don't know, but I mean, clearly they're buried to be discovered. They're going to get discovered.
You know what I want found on Tatooine?
What?
A very, very delicately horned skull.
Mm-hmm.
And I want it in my cabinet of curiosity as Dr. Caligari.
Right, there you go. So, there you go, guys. 10 ways and a bonus to die on Tatooine. So hopefully you'll rethink your travel plans. I mean, if you were planning to go there, sorry we spoiled it, but I mean, we're just looking out for you and hoping to give you a good vacation. And hopefully you learned something about a galaxy far, far away. Yeah. Specifically, this little old dust ball called Tatooine. There's a lot going on there. Much of it can kill you. And so, rainbow, the more you know. Again, to remind you, we are doing a special May 4th episode. What's special about it? Well, it's not on Wednesday, and it's a Q&A. That's about it. We are taking any and every question. We might answer most of them. It just depends on how many we get. So far, the bucket's not full, so we can take on any and every question you got. Weird ones, crazy ones, if you got more than ones, whatever. Yes. We'll take it. We'll have fun answering it and discussing. And who knows? It might be a long, extended episode. Yeah,
unless it's about sand.
We won't talk about it. We will not be taking questions on sand. If you submit them, we will sick a Skywalker on you. Specifically the pretty one. Which one's that?
Which one?
Which one?
Which one, guys?
All of them.
I've never met a Skywalker that wasn't a husbando or a waifu.
And could kill me.
Right? That just makes them sexier.
All right. So send us your questions. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can put it in the comments. Otherwise, hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, wherever. We've got a post somewhere on any of our social medias where you can find and answer those questions. Or you can just message us, email us, whatever.
Yeah. Give us a cuddle.
We're very reachable. We are not socially isolated like most Skywalkers. So reach out, give us some
I got it.
Okay.
Send us a question.
There we go. All right. See you in a minute. And otherwise, our next show will come early on Monday. There's a lot going on May 4th, so we understand if you don't listen to it then, but we wanted to put it out then.
That's fine.
Because cool.
Listen, homie, it's all right.
It is cool. So, and also, if you like the episode, let us know. Again, this is weird. This is a little different than what we normally do. So let us know if you like it. We will probably do it anyway. So, but if you've got some suggestions for planets and ways to die on them, hit us up with that too. We've got a long list of planets, but we would happily take some suggestions. But please, only planets with at least 10 or more ways to die. I mean, we're not looking for like soft stuff, like 2 ways to die, or just like whatever. Like, gosh.
In reality, the passage of time is a way to die.
Exactly. Yeah, there you go. We're all dying slowly day and day. So you might as well enjoy Star Wars while you can. Ha ha ha. Unis honest. Unis honest.
Subscribe to Unis honest.
No, I told you. They got to pay for that promotion. This is slowly degrading, so I will go ahead and sign
Slowly?
off. I am your herd leader, John Wayne.
I'm your herd Wayne.
And we will be back Monday, May 4th, for a special episode. Until then, guys, hope you enjoyed it and hope you have a great week.
Goodbye,
May the Force
sweet babies.
be with you and beware the Skywalkers.